So there's been a fair amount of talk, of course, yesterday after the budget was introduced by the city of Montreal under the new administration. We talk a lot about what it's going to do for individuals. Taxes are going up for some, not going up as much for others. The average rate here now of taxes going up, property taxes, 3.4%, which they say, the administration says, is the rate of inflation. Because remember, the promise at the beginning of the campaign was, if we're elected, we'll keep increases, property, increases to the current rate of inflation. Some would argue that no, that's not what it is. It's less. But that's been all about personal, right? About homeowners, property owners. What about business? And something I mentioned when we first talked about this, when I first brought it up, was the fact that in the previous administration, it was suggested that, they didn't really pay much attention to or care apparently very much about small and medium-sized businesses. So what's different now versus this current administration? Anything in the budget that gives an indication things are going to be different? Isabelle Dessureault is president and CEO of the Montreal Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, and she is on the line. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let me begin by asking, with respect to businesses, what are you seeing in this budget? What do you like? What don't you like? What's your assessment?
Well, first thing that we can see is that in the past, what we have asked at the Chamber is that the difference between the tax for residents and the tax for commercial activities been reduced, because in the past we've seen more than 1.5% of difference, let's say like 4.3 for commerce and 3% for residents in terms. So we have asked that this gap was diminished. And this was the case yesterday. So we can, even though, it's always too many taxes that we're paying if the services are not efficient. But this is one thing that we can put light on.
Okay, so can you just give us an idea, specific numbers? What did you see?
So, I in terms of like budget allocated to different priorities that the business community has, first, we can say that we're happy to see that there's a vision of bringing improvements in the efficiency of the municipal administration. We know that the delay for getting a permit was longer than ever in the last years. And so we see the vision of making the administration more efficient. We see as well that the Chamber was out in a press conference before Christmas related to, all the work being done in our streets. Yesterday, what was announced is that there will be investment in AI, digital twins, and projects within downtown to improve the mobility in this city. This is a priority for all of us as business community. We want to bring back the workers. We want to bring back investment, and we cannot continue to tolerate what was something that we should not have tolerated in the last years. So this is another good thing in terms of innovation for construction site management.
So when you talk about bringing back the workers, I'm sorry, just if you could specify, you mean what? By having them come back to work in the offices?
Exactly. We need, we will unveil a study this Thursday about the economic impact of not having the same amount of workers in downtown Montreal right now compared to Toronto, compared to London, to Paris. The entire 2025, we spoke about competitiveness, about productivity, and this is one major impact. In terms of individual performance, it's okay. It's good. People are doing their job. We all appreciate to be at home. But what we're losing is this collective intelligence, this collective way of solving problems or being more creative in the business issue we have. And of course, for many commerce, it's not. It's even not an option to not come to work. We know that. But so this is for later on this week. But to go back to the budget, I think this was a difficult exercise for this new administration. We all know that Montreal has challenges that are structural. And we, as the business community, think that the fiscal discipline is no longer an option. We have to see a fiscal discipline. And yesterday, this administration has shown that they are tackling the debt level as well.
Well, if I didn't know better, I mean, basically in the 2 months that this administration has been in office, I guess for small businesses, there's a lot of hope or a lot of optimism. Am I wrong in suggesting that?
Well, I think that there was many people that hope after a cycle of 8 years to see things being done differently. So a new team, and that's what we've seen yesterday, is to look at different expenses in a different way, look at discipline, operational efficiency as a priority as well. Hopefully, I think that, when you are an entrepreneur, every morning you have in a way to be optimistic. And we live in Montreal, and if we have decided to invest here, create jobs here, we still have to wake up in the morning and be optimistic. We will follow for sure at which pace we see those improvements being deployed. What we've seen yesterday more as a vision, but we all know that execution is key.
If I can, Isabelle, I want to go back to something you brought up when we were just talking about bringing people back to the office and the point you're making about how you feel that's important for businesses, et cetera. The story last week, and I'm sure you're aware of it, right? Public servants in Quebec who have been told by the provincial government they need to come back to the office 3 days a week instead of just 2. And there's a big push against this because they say, no, and a potential lawsuit as well. And people were saying, you know what, you got comfortable working at home. If you don't want to go in, you shouldn't have to go in. You're making exactly the opposite point. Something I was actually trying to bring up saying, you know what, when people start going back to the office, it brings the city back to life, right?
For sure. And let's think about our cafe, our restaurants, our theaters, everything that makes Montreal what it is, everything that makes Montreal what we love about. If we don't want to lose it, we are at a tipping point. And for us, really, it's kind of unacceptable to see that the Quebec government employees are sometimes 1 day a week working in those major tower in downtown Montreal. I mean, we will unveil how it can affect not only economically, but as a community that should work better together. We should be together more often. And I understand that some people love, and we're not saying bring back everybody 5 days a week, even though at the chamber, the entire team of more than 100 people, we are at five days a week at work. And I can tell you that for young people, this is a game changer.
A game changer in what sense?
That, to be among people that are more senior, that, it's not happening. What you learn from your colleague is not only happening while you're on the call at this meeting. You learn so much from what's taking place just before, just after, and this cohesion between a team. We are allowed to think that 1 day a week altogether is definitely not enough to bring back this collective intelligence and collective creativity.
Interesting. We shall see how this plays out. I think of most people, I remember when I asked the question, I think most people agree it would be good to have people go back. But obviously, if you're one of those people who doesn't feel, you'll be any more productive downtown or in the city or working from the office as you have been or are at home, it's going to be a bit of a tougher sell. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah, but to make this in relationship with the budget of yesterday is that the city has also a responsibility, a role to make this city, people feel secure, safe to come in the city. I think that's what we've seen in terms of the budget for homelessness crisis increasing from 10 million to 30 million is the right priority. As a human being, I'm sure with all your listeners, we feel that Montreal cannot go. We don't want to have this city where we've lost it, and we're really at that point right now. So we have to really work on that. So that was applauded by the business community as well yesterday, and the fact that also in terms of bringing incentives for increasing housing supply and replace the 2020 bylaw that was kind of not a collaborative framework that has worked with the community and the private sector. Now this is a new era as well that we apply.
All right, we covered a lot in there. Listen, I very much appreciate your time, and I hope we'll have a chance to chat again. We'll look back and see how things are working out a few months down the road. Thank you so much, Isabelle.
Thank you, Aaron.
You bet. Isabelle Dessureault from the Montreal Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. I think fair to say, optimistic about what she has seen so far as businesses are concerned. That's a positive step.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.